guys, let's talk about the supplies that we'll need for today's project. So you're going to want some sort of cotton yarn. You can also use acrylic, that's fine as well, but keep in mind that we are making shorts, so if you used like a wool, they might be a little warm, but if that's what you're going for, that's fine. I'm going to be alternating with these different colors here, but you can also do one solid color. I'm using this Crafter's Secret Cotton. As you can see, it's very affordable. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. It is a size 4 weight here, which is a medium, 100% cotton, and we are going to be using a 5mm hook. The alternative would be Michael's that carries this Sugar and Cream brand. It's also a nice cotton, so that's fine to use as well if you want just a really affordable yarn to work with. As I mentioned, we're going to be using the 5mm hook today, and you'll want some scissors. We'll be making this front panel, which is also going to be the same as the back panel. And you can see that I've alternated using different color pieces of yarn, and then you're going to end up with all of these strings at the top. So don't worry, we're going to work that into our waistband, but let's focus on starting here first. So you'll need to know how to make chains and double crochets and a slip stitch. So I'm going to be starting off with this navy color, which is of course very difficult to see when you're trying to instruct people how to crochet, but this is what I wanted to use to get these pops of dramatic color here. So there's a nice contrast with these lighter colors. And as you can see, I barely tapped into this yarn. So by making this front panel, I barely even used like a quarter of this. So you should get some good use out of one ball, especially if you're using multiple colors and you're alternating. So we'll start off by making our slip knot and our 5mm hook. And we're just going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to form this into a circle, we have to slip stitch to that first chain here, and that forms a ring for us. So it's a little difficult to see, but we'll be working in the center there. So now that we worked our foundation row, we're going to chain up 4, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets into the center of our ring here, like so. So we got 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet. Then we're going to chain 1 because that's going to separate this group to our next group. We're going to do the same thing with the 2 double crochet right in the center of that ring there, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do one more group of that with 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then we're just going to add 1 double crochet. And that's going to give us our groups here. So that was our original chain 4. This is our first group of 2 double crochets with that chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. So if I was not changing colors, I would just chain up 4 in my same color here. But since I do want to change colors for every row, I'm going to finish that last double crochet that I did with my new color. So instead of finishing my double crochet how I normally would by yarning over and pulling through this same color here, I'm going to yarn over with my new color and kind of just dangle the tails to the back like this so that you could yarn over with your new color. And that's going to finish that double crochet and also allow you to start with your new color of the row. And you're going to chain up 4 with the new color. And then you could trim your other color here. And I like to put like a little knot here just to make sure that my colors don't unravel. And we're going to be hiding this in our waistband anyway, so it doesn't have to look super pretty at the moment, but now we have secured those 2 colors together. So what we're going to do after we chain up a 4, we're going to turn our work and we're going to add 2 double crochets into this space here from that previous row. And then we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to go over to this next space, that chain 1 space from that previous row, and we're going to put 2 double crochet, and we're going to chain 1, and then in that same space we're going to repeat with 2 double crochet and chain 1. So this is kind of like our little building corner here. In this next space we're going to repeat this as well, so we're going to do those 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. You could chain 1, hop over to this next space here. You're going to do your 2 double crochets, and chain 1. And now we have to find the third chain from that previous row's chain up of 4. So 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to do a double crochet in that third chain from the top. So just do your best in trying to find that one. And so your row should look like this. So hey guys, remember when I told you to finish off with your new color? And I didn't do that in the previous row, so let me show you how to correctly do that. So this is where we're putting that double crochet in that third chain here. So instead of finishing off with the yellow, we're going to start our double crochet as we normally would, and by yarning over and pulling through 2, but instead of pulling through with my same yellow here to finish off that double crochet, we are going to introduce another color, because that's what we said we would do. We were going to change colors with every row. So just make sure that you yarn over and then pull through with your new color to finish off that row. And then of course trimming your old color here and then knotting your new one in to keep it nice and secure. You could do this knot before or after you do your new chain up of 4 with that new color. So either or, just make sure that it's in there securely and then chain up 4 with your new color. And then we're going to turn our work. This row is going to look a little different than our previous row because we're going to be skipping over this double crochet stitch and this space as well as these 2 double crochets, and we're going to work into this next space here. So we're going to yarn over and we are going to do our 2 double crochets. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets in that same space. So we kind of did like this little clustery stitch here. We're going to chain 1, and then in our next space here, we are going to just do our 2 double crochets, and we are going to chain 1. And then this will end up being like our middle point here. So we also want to put a little cluster into this space by doing the 2 double crochets and chaining 1. And in that same space, you got it, we're doing 2 more double crochets and chain 1. So then in this next space, we're just going to do the 2 double crochets with a chain of 1 so that we could jump over to this space here and add another cluster, which is the 2 double crochets and the chain 1, and then you guessed it again, 2 more double crochets. Now to finish off this row, you can't trick me, I got my new color here. So we're going to make sure that we find the third chain from that previous row's chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to work a double crochet and yarn over, pull through 2, but then I'm going to yarn over with my new color so that we could switch colors for this new row and finish off with that new color. You could chain up 4, and then trim your old yarn and secure. Okay guys, so this is where we're going to start to see the repeat for the rest of the pattern. So after we did our chain up of 4, we're going to turn our work and we're going to work into this space here. So that's where we'll put our 2 double crochet and our chain 1. Then we're going to jump here. So now, since we have this cluster here, we're going to repeat another cluster. So going forward, wherever there's a cluster, you're going to repeat that cluster. Wherever there's just a normal space, you're going to repeat just a double crochet and chain 1. So for this space here in the cluster, we're going to do that chain 2, or double crochet of 2, my apologies, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets again. And now you could see that this has been repeated here. But in our next space, we're just going to do, we have to make sure that we chain 1. We have to do 2 double crochets. And then we have to chain 1. So we always want to separate our clusters or our groups with a chain 1. This is just a normal space here, so you got it, it'll look just like this one. 2 double crochets. And a chain 1. And now look at that, we are back at a cluster. So you got it, we're going to repeat what we did here and repeat what we did in this previous row. So we're going to do that kind of clustery deal where we do the 2 double crochets and chain 1 and 2 double crochets and chain 1. Normal space, so that just gets the 2 double crochets with a chain 1. Normal space, that's the 2 double crochets and chain 1. And gee golly, there's another cluster, so we have to replicate that again. So we do the 2 double crochets and we chain 1, and then 2 double crochets in that same space because we want it to look like a cluster through and through. Chain 1, and we're going into this large space here with 2 double crochets, chain 1, find that third chain, 1, 2, 3, we're going to double crochet in that third chain. And remember, we want to finish that double crochet with our new color. I never knew I needed so many reminders to do this, but we are changing so many colors, so it's fine. Then we're going to yarn over with that new fresh color and chain 4, and then trim and secure this. And I'll show you what our next row will be, because you're just going to repeat this row and then this next row. Okay guys, so the only difference with this row is that once we turn our work, instead of working into this space here, we're going to work into this space. But you can see that we've done that with the previous row because we do have this big space here. So we're going to replicate that with this row. So you're pretty much seeing this alternating pattern going on here. So you're going to yarn over. This is just a normal space, so that means we're putting the 2 double crochets in there. And we're just going to chain 1, and then whenever you find yourself in a cluster, you're going to replicate that with the 2 double crochets, the chain 1 in that same space, the 2 double crochets. So these spots are never going to leave. You're always going to find these clusters in the same spot. So you can see that it's already repeating here. It's going to be repeating right in the middle, and then on the mirroring side over here, you're going to do those clusters. But anywhere that you come across just a normal space, that's where you're filling it with just the 2 double crochets and the chain 1. So you're just going to want to change how you start your rows by alternating them. I went ahead and finished the rest of that row, just keeping my clusters together. on the sides and in the middle. And then to finish this one, we're not working into this space, but we're going to do our double crochet in that third chain of that previous row's chain of 4. And then we're going to change our color as we've been doing with every row. And those will be our repeats. So to start this next one, you're going to turn and work into that space. But then with your next row, you're going to skip the cluster to make the space again. So I hope that makes sense, but you could really see it alternating here where we're working into a space and where we're creating a space. And you're just going to repeat, keeping in mind to do those clusters where they should be and those individual little groups where they should be. And then I ended up working, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows, not including that little chain of 4 there that we did our round. And this ended up measuring, let's see, it looks like 14.5, almost 15 inches across, and then let's see, it looks like 8 inches up and down this way. And I'll show you how you want it to fit, so you'll know where to stop for your particular body type. Okay guys, so keep in mind that we're doing 2 panels. You're doing one for the front and one for the back, so they're going to be identical in their size. But the way that you could know that you're at the correct size for yourself is by doing this simple technique on how to measure of when to stop. So you're going to put the waistband kind of like by your hip area. Then you're going to hold the sides like so, and then make sure that the edge of this would be like where a seam on a short would be, and that it is matching on the other side as well, so it looks like it's at that halfway point. You're going to keep it right at your hips here, and then make sure that the point in the middle here is going like halfway to meet your crotch there, because when we join these panels we want to make sure that it's a good fit. I wear like a size small to a medium. I have 36 inches around at the widest point of my hips, and I did about 13 rows here. But keep in mind that you can make it totally customizable to your size. If you need to make it smaller or larger, just make sure that you use this measuring technique to know when to stop. So after you have your 2 panels, you could either join them by taking your tapestry needle and lining up the sides and sewing the sides together on both sides here. And then you just want to join the one point of the crotch here, leaving the leg holes open. If you want to do it the way that my pattern instructs, you're going to not finish this last row here. So just pretend like you just finished 1 row short of your other panel here, and I'll show you how to join as we work our stitches. Let me just put this into a clearer perspective for everyone to see. So this is the finished panel, and this is the other panel as if we would stop 1 row short. So I'm going to turn the work so that we're looking at joining the edges here, and we'll work this along and join it, and then we'll go to the crotch and then the other side. Okay, so this is our completely finished panel, and this is the one that we are still building that last row onto. So what we're going to do is take our, after we chain 3 here with our new color, we're going to slip stitch to our finished panel in that first space. And that's going to start to join them. Then we're going to go to our first space here on our unfinished panel, and we're just going to work our 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch to our next free hole here on our other panel. And then we're going to work our 2 double crochet and chain 1 into our next space on the unfinished panel. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do a slip stitch in the next space on the finished panel. So let's go ahead and repeat. This is the 2 double crochet in the next space on the unfinished panel, chain 1, and then in the next space on the finished panel we're going to do a slip stitch. And you see the pattern continuing in the next space. And then we're going to get to the corner in one sec. Good. So now we're at the corners here, and you can see that they're lining up nicely. We're just going to start the 2 double crochets in our corner, chain 1, slip stitch into the finished panel's corner, and then finish your 2 double crochets. And chain 1. Now, since we're at a leg hole here, we just want to work in our unfinished panel. So we're going to drop the finished one to the back, and we're just going to continue until we reach the point on the crotch. So I'll show you what to do once we get there. Now you can see that this is the side where we joined, so that's looking really great. Then we worked the leg hole here individually without joining it to the other panel. Now I'm at the center point where the crotch would be. So we're just going to work our 2 double crochets in the unfinished panel. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to take the other panel and just slip stitch in the middle of that crotch point here. And then we're going to finish the 2 double crochets in our unfinished panel here. And then we're just going to chain 1 and just work the leg hole again until you get to the side. Okay, so from the crotch point I worked just on the unfinished panel for that leg hole, and now I got to the sides again, so now we just have to join the sides as well. So we're just going to make the 2 double crochets in our unfinished panel here, chain 1, and then slip stitch to the finished panel here, right in the middle. Then finish off your cluster here with 2 double crochets in that same corner space here, and chain 1. We'll slip stitch to the finished panel's next space here, and then we'll work our 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then slip stitch into the finished panel's next free space here, so that we can continue to finish joining that all the way to the end, and I'll join you back here. Okay guys, so I'm just finishing off at the end here. So I did my last 2 double crochets, chain 1. I'm going to slip stitch into the other finished panel's last free space here, and then we're just going to do a double crochet. Let's see, we'll count 1, 2, 3 on that third chain of that previous row's chain up of 4, and I'm just going to do a double crochet to end that now, so you can see that this side panel has been joined. So now we're going to work from the perspective of the waistband here. And so this is a good opportunity to change your colors if you would like to. So just end up joining into this free space if you're changing colors, or you could just slip stitch with your same color, and then we're going to chain up 3. But I'm going to change colors, and I want to switch to this navy so that I have that contrast again. And then we're just going to work 2 double crochets in each space around. So I'll show you what that looks like after I join my new color. Okay, so I ended up finishing the that last double crochet with my new navy color here. So this is where we're going to start to work our tails in. So just keep in mind that you're going to be trapping these as you work your double crochets around. And if you used a single color, then you probably don't need to worry about that. But us crocheters that love to torture ourselves and change colors often now get to face the repercussions of that. So we're going to try to hide these tails as best we can as we go around. But like I said, you're just going to slip stitch into that free space here and then chain up 3. And that will be our mock first double crochet into this space. And then we're going to yarn over and put another double crochet into that space there. And we'll chain 1 so that we could jump over to this next space here. And you'll see I'm just going to trap my tails in. And in this little space, we're going to do 2 double crochets. And we're going to chain 1 again, jump over to this space, all the while trapping my tails behind, and just add 2 double crochets. And chain 1. So go ahead and do that in every space around. And then when you get to the middle point, you could add 2 double crochets there as well. And just continue working until you reach your beginning chain of 3. And I'll join you back there. Okay guys, so this is my finished first row of the waistband, and you can see that we hid a lot of those strands pretty well. And obviously feel free to trim whatever little scragglers are left by there. But this is how we will finish the first row of that waistband. So I did my last little cluster of the 2 double crochets and I chained 1, and now I'm just going to slip stitch to the 3rd chain of that original chain 3 here, and then I'm just going to slip stitch in the next stitch here so that I can get over to my space right here, slip stitch under there, and we're just going to chain up 3, put another double crochet in that same space, chain 1, and then do the 2 double crochets in your next space. Chain 1, and then keep doing that in every space around so that you have 2 rows of this waistband. And then when you come to the end, just slip stitch in the top of that chain 3 and fasten off, and then we'll make a tie for our waistband. This is what your finished waistband should look like with the 2 rows. And now we're going to make a tie so that we could lace that through and be able to cinch the waist. So I'm going to be using this lime green. I think that'll be a cute contrast for it. And how you'll start your chain is just with a slip knot. And then you're going to chain as many chains as it takes to be able to wrap around your waistband comfortably and be able to tie a bow. So obviously once we lace it through and we cinch it a little bit, it's going to be a little longer than what you've prepped for, but just do a nice long chain and then we will weave it through when we're all finished, and I'll show you how to do that when we're all done with our super long chain. Now that we have our nice long chain, we're going to find the middle space here. So this was our starting area on our front panel, and then this is the middle space here. So you can just take your chain and just put it through there, and we're just going to weave it. So we're going to go underneath into that next space. We're going to go through on this space, underneath here, and just keep alternating that pattern all the way around until you reach your original space here. So you can see that it's just weaving in and out, and that's going to allow us to tie and cinch this waist. So I'll meet you back in the beginning. This is what everything should look like after you've done your weaving, and then you could obviously cinch this tighter to fit your waist and tie a little bow or a knot. And I just love how customizable this is, because you could even put like little beads on the end of these, or you can use like a ribbon to tie around the waist, or a rope, or different colors. So really get creative with this pattern and make it your own. So next we'll work on the leg holes. So I'll show you how you could make the leg holes longer, or keep it nice and cheeky, because that's how I like it. or you can even add like a little border or scalloped edge. So I'll show you how to do that next. In this next portion, we'll be working on this scalloped edging around the leg hole. But if you try these little puppies on and you think, oh, whoa, okay, these are a little too cheeky for me, you could definitely expand on the length of the shorts by working more rows of just these 2 double crochets and chain 1s all the way around. And then you could repeat that for as long as you feel comfortable. You can even turn these bad boys into pants. But if you like the cheeky look and you just want to add this little decorative scalloped edging, I'll show you how to do that next. But basically you just want to find a free space right here. And you're going to join your color with just like a slip stitch. And just make sure that that's nice and tight there. We're going to work this tail as we go around, but basically in every space around, you want to do a single crochet. In that same space, we're going to do a half double crochet. Same space, we're doing a double crochet. In that same space, again, half double crochet. Finish with 1 single crochet in that same space, and now you got your cute little scallop here. You could jump to the next space and repeat with that single crochet, that half double crochet, a double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. And you're literally just going to repeat that in every space around in this leg hole. And to finish off, you're just going to slip stitch in that first single crochet that you made.